All right. Welcome to tonight's live chat. Happy New Year's to everybody. It's been an interesting day. I was washing my truck without a shirt on the first day of January. So we get those kind of days here periodically. It has been warmer than usual, but our September was cool. So, just the way things go. Hope you all are doing good and you're keeping an eye on your bees. When the weather is more mild and it's warmer, the bees are more active. And when they're active, they're going to get out of the hive, they're going to fly around, and they're going to burn a lot more energy than they would if they were actually just clustered up. So they'll actually burn through more resources. Hello, Dominican Beekeeper. Good to see you on here again. Thanks for joining us. Hope things are going good for you down there. Time is honey. I love it. It is. Time is honey. South Texas. Yeah, I bet it's been warm down there. Things are crazy. We're just going to have about an hour of a live chat tonight because I need to save my voice for the conference. But I also wanted to talk about a few things and say Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope you all had a good Christmas as well. Yep, feeding winter patties and sugar bricks. Yeah, this has been a year for feeding for sure. Beekeepers need to stay on top of it. Yeah, it's definitely been warm. I was washing Big Red today without a shirt on. It was quite warm. Hey, be original Tennessee Tim. Yeah, it's been a really interesting end to the year and beginning to the year. Usually we don't have a conference to think of, so that's been taking a massive amount of time. We're learning a lot. We're dealing with a lot of vendors and people. That's been exciting. Definitely been a journey. Flowers. So, Joe Wilson, what type of flowers are you seeing in your area? Full production down in Georgia. Wow. Burning through sugar here in West Kentucky. Looking forward to the conference. Looking forward to seeing you, Tim. I'm here in Hawaii. Need to learn beekeeping. Any recommendations? Well, you can watch some of our videos. I actually have some where I've worked with some of my buddies on the big island of Hawaii. Keep an eye on your bees. In Hawaii, you're going to have a lot of small hive beetle problems, probably. And you'll probably have, not that your bees can't handle it, but you're going to deal with more mites and more small hive beetles just because they are able to reproduce year round. You don't get the breaks. And some parts of Hawaii can yield massive amounts of honey, and some parts have serious dearths. One of the areas that I think of is the desert part of the Big Island. So just kind of learn what you can from the locals about what your area can or can't do. And when in doubt, just make a short little inspection into the hive. You don't need to be doing it every day or two, but once a week, a quick 2-minute inspection, every other week at least, and learn by doing. Bob Benny has some good videos. We try to produce good videos. Yeah, on the Big Island. All right, so um, my buddy David with Good Job Bees produces Kiave on the Big Island, and my friend Zach Heinzman produces Queens and different types of wild flower honeys on the Big Island. So I definitely don't know much about the Big Island other than what they've told me. So there's probably people on the island that could give you more information. Ah, on the Hilo side, okay. Do you have any macadamia nut trees around you? Definitely love the mac honey. Actually, I've got a jar over here. All right. So I've got it's very crystallized, but a lot of the honey you would think, a lot of people think that warmer areas the honey's not going to crystallize as much, but that's not the case at all. Hawaiian honey, in my experience, crystallizes very heavily. This Mac honey, I had it turned upside down, and it is very crystallized, very good. And this comes from Waimeli, another company on the Big Island. And then I've got this from Good Job Bees, his honey house, and this is the Kiave honey with vanilla bean, and oh man, it is good. It is real good. Horizontal Bee says, Cayman, are you ready for the conference? Ah, yeah, we're doing good. No, actually, we're a little bit more ahead of schedule than I thought. We've been really trying to get a lot of work done, and it's like today, wash the truck. Now we're gonna load it up. I've got so much stuff piled here in my office from just whether it's mugs or t-shirts. We got everybody's t-shirts in that pre-ordered, and we got a little bit of extras too. We got the hats. We've got all kinds of different things. A couple of the companies needed help with getting product to the conference because they live so far away, so we offered to take their product for them. And so yeah, I'm going to have Big Red's going to be to the brim full of bee gear. But yeah, it's gonna be a blast. About 917 people, give or take about 5 in either direction. Well, good job, Laura Bees. He's bringing vaporizers to the conference. Hey, Bee Lord. Hope you guys are doing good there in Poland. Good to see you. Hope your bees do really good this winter and you get a good chance for some good Europe honey. One day I'm gonna come over there and grab some from you. Let's see. Alberta, Canada. Whoo, that is cold, John Walker. Please, please, please keep that weather up there. If that hit us, we wouldn't know what to do in Tennessee. Hey, Cayman, looking forward to the next week. I had a good bit of yellow brown pollen coming in today here in Middle Tennessee. What do you think it is? It's really hard to know bearded bee works because I was talking to a couple people about that today. Bees this time of the year when it's warm, if they can find corn powder, if they can find chicken feed, if they can find sawdust, they will bring it in, they'll pack it in little baskets. You may be getting pollen, but you may actually be getting something that's not pollen, but bees are uh, they're programmed to do their job and to do it, and when they can't do that job, they try to find something as close as they can. Someone just called me Facebook Messenger. What in the world? Oh, yeah, I can wait. So I just was wondering if it was laurel or something like that. So yeah, it could be pollen. I don't know. There shouldn't be a lot blooming right now. There are a thing or two coming in, but by and large, I see bees hitting bird feeders and chicken feed this time of the year. So there's no really no way to tell. Oh wow, that thing just dropped on down. Yeah. Roll Tide, Don. Yeah, that's right. Watched that football game yesterday. Oh yeah. The Bearcats, though, their defense played pretty good against the pass. Not so much against the run, but their defense. Some people would argue they didn't deserve to be there. I'll get back to beekeeping, I promise here in just one second. But Alabama's a good team, and some people are like, well, look, they didn't even let Cincinnati score a touchdown. They should never let one of those little colleges back in again. But goodness, we've done that to Michigan State. We've done that to Notre Dame. We have smacked teams around in the playoffs before. And one time that I can think of, we got smacked around in the playoffs by, well, actually, it was the national championship game versus Clemson. So I think Cincinnati has nothing to be ashamed of. I was hoping they'd actually get to play Michigan, and they could have beat Michigan, and then Alabama could have played them for the title, and then beat them. Any mead maker is going to be present at the conference. Any mead for sale. Houston, I don't know anything about that being at the conference. Haven't heard anything. No one's even mentioned that to me. So unless someone's bringing something just to share or something like that, not that I know of. Oh yeah. Well, speaking of Pollen, B Lord, Laurel got this for me as a supplement since I'm not doing coffee because she says I don't need the caffeine. And this is like a dandy blend. Is this dandelion something or another? Yeah, dandelion. So this comes from Poland. So, huh? You guys do some interesting things over there. All right. Hey, Steve. Thanks for coming on again. Remind me again, like I told you, Steve sponsored the one of the meals for taking Bob and Ian and all the guys out to dinner. And so, Steve, just remind me after the conference is over, and we'll shoot you a copy of the conference after it's been filmed. It'll probably be in February before that's actually available, but just let me know, man, and I will send you one. Cayman, what are you seeing with food stores? I've already had concerns with my warm winter so far, and Bob's video this morning confirmed it for me. Oh, yeah, we've been saying it as well. We did not get a fall flow in this region. Talking to beekeepers, even up in Ohio, going out into the Virginias and the Carolinas, um, going to Missouri, fall flow was very, very poor. And so bees were very light, and beekeepers, especially who didn't feed very heavily, their bees are going to be light. Go in there if they need a sugar brick or if they need some fondant. I've actually got some fondant down in here. I've got some Hive Alive to try out, and I'm going to try that this year. And you can also, goodness, I've been feeding syrup. It's been 60s, it's been 70s, 2 to 1, baby. You put that on with a bucket feeder or a jar feeder, and if the cluster, if as long as the hive is a decent size, they'll go up there and get it. And you can even do things to help keep it a little bit warmer. And but depends on your location. But if nothing else, get them some food contact. It could really make a difference. Bees are going to be light. I think a lot of people that aren't paying attention are going to lose bees unnecessarily just due to starvation because it was one of the worst fall flows I've ever seen. And guys like Bob and Rick are saying it was one of the worst they've seen. And those guys have been keeping longer than I've been alive. So that's pretty bad. Thoughts on winter patties? Feeding straight pollen patties, no, I don't see any reason to try to stimulate pollen patties. Now, as far as like Man Lake's winter patties, if that's what you're talking about, those can work. I prefer fondant or sugar bricks or something else. Those winter patties will work. I have used them. I just don't like the protein content. Down south, it's not a big deal. I just want to get them energy. I don't want to give them roughage, but some people really like it. I also think, if you're up north, definitely don't be giving them anything but like sucrose and maybe just like a couple little ingredients like citric acid at the most. Personally, sucrose is the best. Do laying queens eat only royal jelly from nurse bees? So no, laying queens, once they've matured and they start laying, they will take other food. They will eat honey. They'll go and grab some honey. One of the first thing the queen does when she emerges from her cell, and she's a virgin at this point, is she will go over and find the nearest cell full of honey, and she will fill up on that. So they are fed, of course, the royal jelly their entire developmental stage, but not the when they get to be older, they're not fed exclusively royal jelly. Hello from the northern part of Norway, a place without varroa. Woo, really? Well, I'm moving. You guys let people from Tennessee come up there. All right. So Eric says talk about collecting pollen, drying process, and cleaning. I've never done the drying process or cleaning, so I really can't say much on that. How we do ours is we remove it from the tray. We run it through like a sifter that will catch the pollen, but it'll allow smaller stuff to drop on through. And then we put it in a bag and stick it in the freezer. And or you can just stick it in the fridge if you're going to sell it within the next day or two and just stick it in a baggie. If you're not going to dry it out though, you've got to stick it in the freezer for long-term storage. But I really don't know anything about dehydrating or cleaning it, for the fancy ways to do it. Someone else will have to talk on that, unfortunately. um, do bees and the queen start to ramp up production based off the length of the day getting longer or the time of the year? It is based upon daylight. That is one of the things, but also flows. A good pollen flow really makes a difference. If you have good nutrition coming into the hive, they're going to want to brood up. Now, if you have day length as well as nutrition, that's the perfect combination. But if you have, you know, it could be in July, plenty of day length. Of course, nutrition, if it's not available for them, if you're in a dearth period and they don't have what they need to produce, and they're not going anywhere. So, day length does make them want to, if they have the resources, especially if they have excess resources, and the day as the day length gets longer, they're going to continue to build, build, build. It definitely stimulates them quite a bit. Well, placing hives under trees create a bigger hive beetle problem. Shade does encourage a little bit more small hive beetles for sure. However, I've had some in shade. Strong hives can still deal with it. You can put traps in there to keep them lower if that's what you have to do. A bigger concern for me would be making sure no big limbs or trees fall on the hives. Go dogs. Well, you guys steamrolled Michigan. Good deal. Good deal. You guys hopefully didn't run out of all those bag of tricks though before you meet old Nick Saban, Saint Nick, good old Saint Nick. It'll be a fun game to watch. Really, if they weren't facing Alabama, I would pull for the dogs because they've got a good football program. I like them. All right. Ohio State won the Rose Bowl. All right, I guess. There's a lot of people from Ohio coming to the conference. It's actually one of our bigger areas. Tennessee, of course, is number one, and don't really know the number twos, but I'd say Ohio has to be in the top five easily. It's very well represented, so there must be a lot of beekeepers up in Ohio. And I see no problem with that, other than the fact that a lot of them like the Buckeyes, which is a big problem. So that being said, if anyone has any conference related questions, now's the time. Laurel and I have very little time, especially now, but between now and the conference. So a lot of people are asking questions about the conference constantly, especially the people that are going. So if you do, now's the time to get them out because we won't be answering really emails or messages or anything for probably a good week or so. How much room are you going to have on Big Red on your way home? I may have ordered more stuff than my truck will haul. Ha. Well, I'm taking some stuff back with me because there's some good deals. If you order 1,000 sheets of foundation, you get free shipping and 20% off for Premier Foundation. Now, some people are like, well, you know, you can get free shipping already, but that's not for big orders. That's for tiny orders. So 20% plus free shipping adds up to hundreds of dollars. And so I'm going to be getting some of those. And there's other products that, let's see, some excluders and bunches of different things. So shipping these days is just outrageous. So that's a lot of it right there. But I don't think I'm going to have a whole lot of room on Big Red. Hey, Steve, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon. What's your thoughts on horizontal hives versus vertical ones? So we're going to have some horizontal hives at the conference. I'll video those, I'm sure. And I like them. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. I think one of the advantages to the horizontal hives going long ways is the fact that if you have back problems or if you're in a wheelchair or if you like to make your own stuff, they're better. You can take some long boards and 2 by material, whatever, and make a horizontal hive. And I would suggest making it at least 40 frames long. It doesn't have to be much longer than that. Some people make them only 30 frames long, but I really like 40 frames because a good strong colony is definitely going to take up that space. And the nice thing about them as well is if you like to have deep frames, you can use all deep frames in that whole thing, and you're not having to pick up a whole box of deep frames, though. You still get the advantage of having all your frames the same. Also, you can, there's several advantages. I can't think of all of them, but they're nice. I like it. One of the biggest disadvantages with the horizontal, though, is they're very inefficient when it comes to removing a lot of frames at once, as opposed to the Langstroth, where boom, whole box. Or if you have a lifter like I do, boom, 3 boxes of honey off, and you leave the brood nest below. It's just they work really good. And if I was gonna go a route that was it going horizontal. I would definitely go one with frames. Top bars can work, things like that, but it makes it harder on you, makes it harder on the bees, just because you damage a lot of stuff. Top bars do work, but I like Langstroth hives. They work wonderfully. It's really just a matter of preference. But I'm surprised more beekeepers in the United States don't use horizontal hives because you can build them pretty easily, and they're quite nice, especially if you're just wanting 5 to 10 hives. I think they're really nice. If you're starting to get into dozens of hives, that's where you start. The efficiency is so much lower than the Langstroth. They can become an issue. Hey, nuts and bolts beekeeping. Yeah, I don't think Laura wasn't expecting a live chat before the conference either, but we hope that people would be able to ask some conference related questions right before we go to the conference. And I won't be available for a while. After the conference, I'm probably going to take a break. This conference has eaten 3 months of my time and Laurel's time. If you add all that up together, it's an insane amount of hours. Totally worth it. And we are so excited because the future of our conference looks really good, and that just means more availability to network with people and inventors and beekeepers. That means more exposure to different ways of doing things, more people bouncing ideas off of each other, and more ingenuity and creativity is going to be a result. Get back to some of these questions. All right. Kamon, I ordered a shirt, but I didn't see any of those hats. So the hats, we don't have to really worry about pre-orders so much, Ricky, just because they're kind of a one size fits all, and you can adjust it on the back. They're nice new era hats. I really like that. That Alabama hat that I've wore for years, that's a new era hat. Same model as this one. That Alabama hat's just been worn quite a bit, but we'll have several of these available. Maybe not enough for everybody, but we were lucky to get them. I just picked them up yesterday, so and the shirt. So they'll definitely be there. They'll be nice. There'll be other guys with hats too. I know Randy McCaffrey will have hats. Yeah, roll tide, baby. Will anyone at the conference be discussing the growing lanternfly issue? I have good experience with them. No, Jamie. Nobody will be. That's something that is something we need to discuss, as that is an issue. However, that's where things are tricky right now. We are still very young as a conference. So even though we have like 900 people coming, I didn't know that. Shoot, I didn't know if we'd have 400 people come this year. So next year, because we see the demand, and I really think without some of the folks being concerned about coronavirus stuff, we would easily have had 1,000 people without question. So next year, we see the conference is going to grow, be over 1,000 people. We are going to have multiple rooms where we can get into some of those important topics like lanternfly issues. Also, have a breakout for mite resistant bees that are a little bit more resilient. See what we can come up and get some good reliable sources. What's for lunch at the conference? Great question. Very important question. This guy understands Southern people. All right. So, meat, potatoes. It's actually quite a bit. Usually, there's two options of meats. I believe one day it's like a country, maybe fried chicken, and then the other day it's country ham, potatoes. I think there's three or four sides. So there's plenty of options. And then the other day, I think it's like, man, I'm going to tell you wrong, but maybe roasted, um, open faced beef, and then like chicken or something like that. I can't remember. Some couple different things. There's going to be some donuts in the morning and coffee. Must be a Baptist. No, no, I'm not. But my some of the guys I'm playing bluegrass, they certainly are. One of them's a Baptist preacher, actually. One of the best musicians you will ever hear. The conference name is Hive Life HL. It's very new. It's actually one that Laurel and I started, and it is going to be focus more and more on the issues that beekeepers are facing on the professional and hobby level. And we're definitely open to suggestions because we want to be the best conference in the world. And I'm not saying that we will be, but that's definitely our goal. You might as well hit for the fence, right? All right. Will vendor parking area be obvious? I'm expecting all of that will be straightforward. Looking forward to everyone else. All right. So this venue, Rob, with Laura Bees, is Low Rob. See, down the south, we Low Rob is just it's so much. Lorib. There we go. That sounds like Sevierville. That's right. Anyways, so parking with vendors is going to be you can pull right into the building. 2.5 acres of nothing but beekeeping. That's what we've rented, not including the hallway and the bathrooms and all that stuff. So 2.5 acres, you'll be able to drive right into the building and you'll be able to unload right there at your booth. And then there's parking outside for your trailers and stuff like that. There is no fee for parking at this place unless you have a semi tractor trailer. And I know you don't. Let's see here. Oop, said it again. 5 days and a wake up. Can't wait. Hey, Brian. Hey, good to see you. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Let's see. I think this will be the third time that I've met you. Yeah. So, looking forward to you. You're gonna you're bringing the missus with you, aren't you? I imagine she doesn't give you a choice, anyways, in that regard. But looking forward to seeing you. We appreciate you being our biggest supporter on all things beekeeping, and we'll see you here in just a handful of days. So, nuts and bolts beekeeping. Thank you. This time we went with the yellow. The shirts look really slick. I'm loving those. We've actually got some mugs made here in Tennessee, and they're real nice. And so I just love that. There were some options. We could have got some, white generic coffee cups for like $4 made in China and have it printed on, but it wears off so fast on those cheap things. And I just hate supporting China. Yeah, horizontal bees is actually going to have some horizontal hives. The ones that I have in my videos actually come from him. So that that's going to be neat to see those. I'm going to actually film a lot of it. I've actually got a professional crew that we're paying to do that, so they'll be filming me doing it, and the whole thing will be recorded. So for those of you who can't make it, there will be copies available sometime in February. 900 plus attendees. I hope everyone is fully vaccinated and, if possible, boosted. That's none of my business. Is there a place set for the conference next year? Right now, we're going to the same place in Sevierville. So we're looking at some other options. But one of the things that we like about this area is for those of you guys or gals that your spouse is not so keen on beekeeping, why does my husband or why does my wife spend so much time and money on these silly bugs? They could be spending time with me. Well, now you have an excuse. You have the opportunity to tell your spouse, honey, let's go to the Smokies and you can go do all this stuff. And oh, there happens to be a beekeeping conference going on. So, seriously, a lot of people are turning it into family vacations, and because there's so much to do in that area, you can see the mountains from the conference venue. So we do like that. We're probably going to be there next year unless something changes. We'll keep you updated in that regard. We do have a website now, and it's just started, so it's going to be way more thorough and updated over the next couple months. It is hivelifeconference.com, and you can see the schedule. We will definitely be posting stuff. We'll be a lot more proactive now that we've learned a lot. I imagine we'll start really posting stuff heavily come late June, July. Steinthal Valley, we appreciate you all again. Thank you so much for supporting what we do. And I mean, really, I mean, I mean it 100%. The people who have donated and encouraged us. You're the ones that have made all this possible. The entire nuts and bolts. Sure, we do have to do some work and whatnot, but you're the ones that tell us, yes, we want more of this. And so we're not just going to take that and go, you know what, we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not like that. It's not my personality. I've got to get up in the morning and find a way to be better as a beekeeper, as a person, just for the sake of getting further along. So every time, you guys have done that, that inspires me to be better. And this conference right here is one of the things that where we have put our effort, and we haven't been perfect, and we are definitely not perfect, but we will keep doing our best. And whether it's us getting it done or whether we're finding other people who are getting it done and can help you all, like when we told you all about Bob Benny months and months ago, and maybe you heard it on a different channel, but we've always been big about supporting Bob for good reason. He's got all the characteristics that we could want for this industry. Things are changing in a positive way, and thank you so much for being a part of that change. Ooh, that tea is hot. Happy wife, happy life. I actually got 3 tips from my grandpa. He gave it to me quite often. So, for those of you who don't know where my personality comes from, it comes from my Papa Jim. Smart guy, hardworking. Most people thought he was just a cut up. And a lot of people think that of me. They think that, Kamon's a big goofball, and they're partially right. But when Kamon flips the switch, it's like my grandpa. When it's time to be serious, it's time to be real serious. And my grandpa was a great businessman. However, he was also a goofball, and I loved him to death. He was a big supporter of what we're doing, and he said 3 keys to a happy life. First of all, happy wife, happy life, a good night's sleep, and frequent bowel movements. Without all of those 3 things working out well for you, life is not good. And he's right. Ooh, 15-hour drive from Houston. We appreciate you all very much. Thanks for coming up and bringing some of what you all do in beekeeping, and it's going to be exciting. There's a lot of things going on that we haven't told you about because we can't tell you everything because it wouldn't. There's got to be some surprises, right? But there definitely is going to be. We've got like 36 vendors now. They're really good ones. We did say no to some of the Chinese companies that want to bring in stuff and undercut everybody who's making good quality stuff over here to my left. I actually was recording a product review on this uncapping tank and uncapping knife by Pierce Beekeeping. Pierce Beekeeping is a company here in the US. Everything from the metal to the plastic is made in the United States. Been doing it since 1947. So I think that's awesome. They're going to be at the conference. And I actually have several boxes of their stuff that I'm hauling out with me. They're flying in, and I'm going to haul their stuff to the conference. Will there be any dollies or hand trucks to use to help load equipment from vendors? Yes, several of the companies I know already have dollies. I'm going to be bringing one myself, maybe a couple, and so we'll definitely have access. I've got plenty of staff. A lot of people like, how's this all working? I've got like 15 people on staff, so we got plenty of manpower. We got a couple smart people and some that are just really strong and will take orders. Some of my buddies, because any of you who have seen my wedding pictures and or anything like that, I'm a lot shorter than my buddies. I think the most of them are like 5'11" or quite a bit taller, 6'2", 6'3". So I'm quite short. A lot of them tease me about being like that guy on The Princess Bride, where I'm short and loud, and the big guys are. I'm making the big guys do everything for me. uh, Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, for sure. Getting to talk to Bob. Most people don't know some of the other speakers. Rick Sutton, Kent. They're both from Kentucky. They're really good. They got a lot of knowledge and information as well. There's going to be so many beekeepers that are coming that maybe they're not speaking this year, but they probably could be speaking in the future. But they're coming just to be a part of this change and how conferencing is done. And so the getting to talk to so many people who aren't even speaking is going to be a blast. Getting to pick their brains. A couple guys doing AI talks as far as just they're out in the crowd. So basically, within reason, anything you want to talk about in beekeeping, we have it there. Someone who's really good at it. Yeah, Steinthal Valley, we definitely will. So one thing that I wanted to point out, and maybe I've got it right here. Yeah. All right. So for those of you who come into the conference, do me a favor and Laurel a favor. So the logistics of this, getting over, that many hundreds of people through the door. It's I'm counting attendees when I say the total number of, I mean, not attendees, vendors and staff and speakers. So everybody included, like 912, 917, something like that. It was one of those two numbers. But as far as attendees, we're well into the 800s. And so checking that many people in, vendors won't have to be checked in. And we already know who you are. But if you're checking in when you signed up through the ticket tailor, signed up and filled all that out, you should have got an email like this. It would have had this on the email. This is your ticket. If if you're in the system, you're in the system. We can look you up, but it will take a while. We'll have probably 10 lanes at least, maybe 12. And two of those lanes will be devoted towards people who don't have this, but it'll take a lot longer to get in. If you have this, and you can pull this up, like say if you go to your email on your phone and pull it up, we can scan it on your phone. For those of you who do all that tech stuff, I don't. My wife set this up for me. Story of my life. But if you have a hard copy of it, that'll work too. It'd be really handy because all we have to do is scan this, boom, you come up. And if you're with somebody on that registration, they'll come up too. We have your lanyards made up. They're really cool. Got badges. Those were sponsored by Laura Bees. And it should be, we got a goodie bag, and you should be able to just boom right through the door into Beekeeping Wonderland, because there's going to be a lot of product on that sales floor. It's going to be pretty darn cool. It's going to be awesome. Let's see. Did you ever contact George Hansen? They do a lot of. I don't remember that being mentioned. Maybe you mentioned that in the past, Ryan, and I did not notice or remember that. I've had so many emails and stuff. But no, I don't really know a George Hansen. Sounds like maybe I should. Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing a 50-50 each day? What do you mean by that, Brian? Yeah. As far as several people are talking about stores, fall flow stunk. Going to recap it. I said at the beginning of the video, there's going to be a record amount of feeding in this area. Feed, feed, feed. If you're when in doubt, get in there, crack the lid. A lot of people say you can't do it in January. Well, if those bees starve in January or February or March because they run out of food, maybe cracking that lid at 40 degrees would have been better, and throwing some fondant or a sugar brick where they could make contact with it. Just make sure smoke the bees out of the way, get contact on it, right onto the bees. And if they need it, get it to them. So William Sanford asked a question about the conference. Should we pick up larger equipment from the vendors on the first day or wait until the last day? Well, it'll depend on the vendor and depend on how much they have. So I do know several of the vendors are wanting to showcase the product. So if they only have one or two of them, then they're wanting that to sit out there till Saturday. And not like late, but sometime on Saturday, so people can look at it, so they can see what they're getting. That's the importance of this trade show, is people can actually physically see what they're getting before they're buying it. And also, so people can compare right on the spot. I mean, you can go over to Man Lake's booth and look at their stuff, and then go over to Dogwood Ridge or Hillco or Laura Bees or Oxivap or any of these companies and see actually what they have and if you like it or not. So some of the companies will probably want you to come get it right away. Some of them are going to want you to wait a little bit. I know with our shirts, you need to come get them in the first day. If they're not on the pre-orders, we have your name. If you pre-ordered, we got you. But if you haven't picked them up by the end of Friday, then we'll probably sell them on Saturday is the plan because we didn't bring enough shirts probably, but I just picked them up yesterday, so we're kind of running out of time. So you'll have to ask the company what they think about that. Oh, buy a ticket for a chance to win half of a total ticket sale. We actually have some surprises at the conference, so you know, you just never know what's going to happen. Yeah, I probably have heard of George. There's just so many names, and I know I haven't met him, but probably should. All right, got the bags packed already. Well, I'm actually starting to pack a little bit. How much will the video of the conference be? I haven't set a price. It's not going to be obscene though, or anything like that. It's not going to be like $100 or anything like that. Um, it just depends. I know I've got at least 5.5 grand tied up into the guys videoing it, and then I've got to get it edited into a sellable format. So we're definitely going to have to charge for sure. And I know that you weren't asking that, but um, we're going to try to keep it very reasonable. Um, but I'm not 100% sure. And for the people that came to the conference, it's going to be very reasonable because they already paid for the conference. But some people will want a copy, especially in 2023 when we have two speakers going at once. We'll be recording both sessions. So that way, anyone at the conference that missed anything in the other rooms and wishes they could have seen that can get the video later and enjoy that as well. Orlando, is there going to be a mask mandate? No mask mandate. Tennessee has very relaxed laws, and we're very thankful for that. How much will the video? Oh, I already answered that. Sorry. Yeah, there's no restrictions here at all. We did get a massive room. We also have room to expand if something was to happen. I mean, it's 2.5 acres. So that's a lot of space. It's not including the bathrooms, the hallway. We have access to another room if we had to go to half capacity. This room is rated for over 3,000 people. So we're not even getting to that half capacity level. Amazon Prime Video. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Yeah, good point, Todd. Some states are really weird about that kind of stuff. How many heads in attendance already? So vendors, speakers, myself included. I don't know if we counted 917 or 912, but it was one of those two numbers. So quite a bit, and there's several names that are going to be there that have YouTube channels that aren't on the billing, and some really cool beekeepers that have worked with Ian or Bob or myself that will be making an appearance. So there's gonna be a lot of cool people at the conference just because they're not speaking. There's still gonna be a lot of cool people there outside of the speakers. And if you're there, I mean, obviously there's gonna be cool people. I mean, gee. Don says I bought a small folding set of hand trucks just for the conference. Man, Don, you're fixing to load up, huh? Hey, if you need any help, and that's one of the things I have staff. I actually have staff shirts over here. Let's see. Yeah, so woohoo, staff. So these are staff shirts only. So they should stand out black with the yellow logo on them, and they will be able to help or point you in the direction of people that can help. And I have some people. The people that are getting the shirts are kind of the head staff, and we have people that can help you move stuff. So if you have something big, now a lot of the vendors have people. Like Manlay's got 5 people. I know several of the vendors have 4 or 5 people, the bigger ones. So they probably can give you a hand if you need one. I'm not saying you do need one, but it we should have you taken care of. We're trying to make this as we don't want this to be a lot of work. This is supposed to be fun. The work comes when the honey flow starts, or at least the bees build up for it. Hey, I will be a staff member for sure. You're a vendor, horizontal bees, not a staff member. You're too late. Now, Jed, is that the Jed from Wisconsin or is that a different Jed? Is there a loading dock for rolling larger items into the back of a pickup? Oh, yeah. Premier Foundation has a semi load of product that we're unloading on Thursday. And there's docks there. It should be pretty easy. If you have a pallet of stuff or whatever, we can make that work. Thanks. I thought the shirts look pretty cool. Is there an opportunity to get some pictures with the beekeepers, the cool ones? Well, I'll take pictures with most people if you're under 6 foot tall. Or if you're over that, I'll do a picture with you, but you need to sit down. No, yeah. What we have is a big step and repeat board. So it's got our logo on it. It also has the sponsor of that, which is Dogwood Ridge. I actually kind of gave that to them as a thank you because they're bringing like $25,000 worth of license extraction equipment. I mean, they've got so much cool stuff coming. A 30 by 30-foot booth. It's going to be like Cabela's, except bee stuff. And yeah, you can get your bee buddies, take a picture in front of it, or get maybe Bob Benny, take a picture with him in front of that board. You don't have to do it there. You can get pictures in other places, but that'll be kind of cool because it'll have the background in it. We're hoping a lot of people do that. And then post the pictures to our Facebook group or send them to us via hivelife at gmail.com. And we can show people what the conference experience was like for people wanting to come in the future. 5'8", perfect, James. We can get a picture. Do you ever do tours of your bee operation? And not really. One is just due to time constraints. I overload us, and we just don't have a lot of time for it. We're homeschooling our kids. I find most people, and I'm not trying to be mean, but most people slow me down and get in the way. And so, the only exceptions I typically make are people that I know and people that actually can help me get work done because we're busy all the time around here. And I got to put food on the table. But maybe in the future we'll start doing something like that. I would like to, but I'm not like Bob where I've got a bunch of employees and my system all dialed in, and um, I'm not I'm not at that point yet. Laurel and I are doing everything, and so we're burning at the candle at both ends and holding a torch to the center of it. So yeah, that is Jed with Thorn Manufacturing. So maybe Jed's going to bring some USA made extractors from Thorn Manufacturing, first time seen anywhere. Caleb says he has a drone layer. Suggestions this time of the year. If you have a drone layer, if you're in an area that gets a winter at all, kill the queen. She's no good. She's going to take the colony down. As long as the bees aren't diseased or anything like that, do a paper combine and combine them with a decent colony. That's you're going to save the rest of those bees, and you can help beef up that other colony just a little bit. Maybe if you're in an area now, maybe you're in an area like New Zealand or something, or Australia, where you're in the middle of your season. If you have a drone layer and you actually have flows going on, different things, then there's a good chance that you can drop in a queen cell. Still, I would just make a whole new split. Combine those bees with another colony, and then if you want to make a split, buy a queen and make a whole new split. They'll accept it so much better than trying to requeen a drone laying colony or a laying worker colony or anything like that. We can get you a step stool for picture taking. No, I've tried that. It just looks weird. Bruce's bees. Are you drinking some of Ian's eggnog? No, I hate eggnog. Absolutely hate it. This is herbal tea for my nerves. Let's see. Hey, thanks, California Beekeeper. Yeah, I like the hat too. It kind of pops right off the black right there. Thanks, Tony. Any input on slatted racks, nice shirts? Yeah, they can help the colonies ventilate. There's some argument on whether they help bees produce a bigger honey crop. I don't know. I've never used one. It does make sense that the bees have more room to cluster underneath. I think in really hot, humid areas, they can help bees cool themselves down, which can help, especially if your flows are during hot, humid times of the year. But I really have no practical experience. So that's just all theoretical, at least what is in my mind. I've survived 18 years without them. So I don't know. I don't really know much more than that. We have 300 hives, give or take, Nico. How about bearded folks? You take pictures with them? Yeah, yeah, I'll take pictures with bearded people. I mean, some of us weren't as blessed when it came to the looks department, so we had to cover our faces with something. I mean, I'm not going to hold that against somebody. What's the three things you wish you knew the first few years of beekeeping? Okay, well, that's a good question. Number one, how to feed appropriately. A lot of people let their bees get too close to starvation. It's not always starvation, but it's too little. And if the bees don't have a decent amount of food in the hive, then they don't brood correctly. And then they'll drop that population. And it makes it hard for them to build back up going into winter, especially if you don't have great long flows. And that's why it's easier. You hear of a lot more success in areas that have consistent flows or long flows versus areas that have big periods of dearth, dearth being a period without pollens or without nectar. So get into your hives, and if they're, 8 frames of bees or more, they need to have at all times during the season at least 3 frames of equivalent deep frames of food. And too many times I'd go into hives and I'd see about the equivalent of 1 frame. Those bees don't brood as well. They hold the queen back because they're afraid they're going to starve themselves out if they brood too much. So feeding's definitely one thing, but don't overfeed too. Comb is valuable. Take care of it. Make splits. Bees die. They're an insect that's very dynamic. When things are right, things go well and they build fast. When they're not, they go backwards fast. So you're going to lose bees. It happens. Learn how to make some splits. We have videos on how to do that. Also, swarm trapping. We've got videos on that. You can look at how to catch some swarms and maybe get some extra bees, and treating mites. Focus on treating those darn mites. They really will set your colonies back or kill them. Those are the things I would think of right there. Don Bearden says, Cayman, when is the live music? Sorry, I'm eating some chocolate. I just gotta get some caffeine, even if I can't get it in the form of coffee. So that is gonna start Friday night, 8:30, and it's gonna go to 9:30. I actually night before last, ooh, it's been a crazy week. I drove to Clark Range, Tennessee, and played with some of my buddies. And I mean, these guys they're good. They're so good. Make sure that your shoes are tied on really good. Otherwise, they're gonna be blown off. Several of these guys are just Ricky Skaggs couldn't keep up with these guys. They're that good. Ugly. They're real ugly, but, they're really good musicians. Will you play blackjack? I don't that's not one that I think that we probably won't do that because the guy that I know that really rips that song off really good with blackjack is a cool song. He's actually playing dobro for us. He plays guitar, banjo, dobro, and can play mandolin. I really hate him. But he is playing dobro this time. I'm not sure the other banjo player can play blackjack. Um, Tyler Collins, he actually has a YouTube channel. You can go to Tyler Collins Banjo and see him on YouTube. It's mostly instructional videos on how to play the banjo or dobro. He's really talented. Won a lot of competitions. I grew up with him, and we played music together. And he always made me mad. He's very skilled. Yeah, another Buckeye fan. God, what did I do to deserve all these Buckeye fans? I don't understand this. Well, I appreciate the attention, but man, what might treatment have you found to be most effective, organic or OA? Organic, as far as nothing. Oxalic acid works good when the bees are broodless. You can use that. Apigard can work really well. I don't like using it on little tiny colonies. I want to use it on something that's 8 frames of bees or stronger. And I really am not super skilled with formic acid, but I am going to start using it a little bit more and trying to hone that one down. Try to get away from the synthetics, and I'm really not a huge fan of Apivar these days. I haven't liked what I've been seeing, and several other guys haven't either. Well, we'll be able to show up to the conference building Thursday to watching the setup. I'd appreciate it if people did not. I totally get it. I do. I really do. But also from our side of things, I have had 100 people ask if they could help me out. I have had 50 to 100 people ask if they could come watch setup on Thursday, and we have got a massive show to put together, and we just I mean, I don't know. We might get it done and things work out and we're out of there by 5 to 6 p.m. I might be setting up till 1 a.m. in the morning. So I don't know. I can't have a lot of, people in the way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just, it just gets complicated. A lot of people are asking for favors as well. People wanting to slide somebody in, or I've got a kid, or I've got a wife that wants to see. And I get it. But the amount of emails and messages that we have to contend with on a daily basis is unreal. I understand it. It's part of the job, but it's just Laurel and I remember. So it really makes it difficult for us to keep up with everything and also feel like we're communicating with people. We've learned a lot. We're gonna get better. I'm gonna probably hire somebody next year to take care of all the emails. Is the presentation of the creamed honey going to be recorded at the conference? Oh yeah, I'm going to be the one doing it. Now there might be other guys doing it as well. That's what I'm hoping. We have a lot of YouTubers. Hope people record it and post it on YouTube. Now, some of the speakers have asked me that people not record their presentations, and so I would ask that people not record the presentations to share on YouTube or Facebook or any platforms. I don't have an issue with people recording for your own personal use. Um, at the conference, but, we if people abuse that, then we might eliminate that in the future. So yeah, I mean, there should be recordings of the cream stuff though, that'll be shown. I'm excited to see that Lyson creamer. 36 gallons. Um, Lyson makes some really cool products. I can't wait to send them a video of all the license stuff and then ship that over to Poland. I'm gonna probably ship a video of it to Swinty as well and just say, "Hey guys, you guys need to be here too, showing off your stuff." My highlight for the conference will be meeting Laurel. Get in line, buddy. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. So yeah, you know, she's really popular. Um, oh no, I hear her. She's coming. Well, so oh, you're wanting to charge? Don't say that. Oh, that wasn't what you meant. Whew. You guys are getting me in trouble all the time. I have no problem getting into trouble. I've had people say my middle name was Trouble Kamon, Trouble Reynolds. So yeah, Laurel will be great to meet. We'll just get like a whole line. Like she can be at a table signing autographs. No, but people love you. No. Okay. It's either I do what she says and eat and I get to eat good food, or I do what you want and I get bologna sandwiches. So we're gonna go with Laurel. Yeah, she's gonna be there. She's a she's super shy. Once she gets to know you, she'll talk to you, but she's just a shy person. I can't I kind of get it, but I don't really understand it, you know. I've never been that person. But she works so hard for this conference. She does so much. Laurel for president. Hey, if she was in charge of this country, there'd be a whole lot more butt kicking going on, and that'd be a good thing. Hey, Yvonne. No, no new restrictions or anything like that. Everything's wide open here in Tennessee, and oh, I think you asked a question. You talked about wheelchair access, Yvonne, and we're going to have some pretty wide rows. I think they're 16 feet wide in between the vendors, and we've tried to set up the round tables and everything to make it um, easy for people to maneuver. Um, so but if you have any suggestions at the end of the conference, I know there's at least two people that um, are going to be in a wheelchair. So if there's anything that we missed, we definitely want to make sure that in the future we encourage a better environment for people who need that. Um, Hey, Don. Yeah. Can the non-attending spouses come for the live music? Good question. Okay. So if you can't come to the main sessions, of course, without a ticket, but the Bluegrass show is an exception to that rule. So if your spouse or your kids are with you, we ask that you don't bring a bunch of friends and family that are out of distance and stuff because that makes it complicated. But yeah, if you got a spouse with you or a kid that's with you, say at the hotel, yeah, for the Bluegrass show, 8:30 to 9:30, bring them on in. They will love it. It's good, good bluegrass. Yeah, count on it. You'll be there until 1 a.m. on Friday morning. Ah, man, Merle, you know it. You know it. I'm dreading it. I've got a plan. We've got a lot of plans, but plans don't go. There's always unforeseen issues or some vendor blows a turbo or something like that, and then they get there late, and there's all kinds of stuff. Well, Mark, you also got to understand it from a business standpoint as well on being able to share the videos. Guys like Ian, and it takes many, many hours to put these presentations together, and then if they get all their information out on if their presentations are all made available, then it becomes harder and harder. It's actually YouTube is great. And there's a ton of content out there, so it shouldn't be an issue. There's more content available and good content than there's ever been before, and it's only going to get better. However, it makes it increasingly difficult for as someone to put on a show to find fresh content. It also makes it really difficult as someone creating the content to speak on, if you're a YouTuber, for it to be fresh. I've had this conversation with Bob and Ian. Ian doesn't want it to go all over the place because, he, if it gets 20, 30,000 views, well, if he goes to a conference and does the same talk, then all of a sudden everyone's like, I've heard that before. I had to talk to Bob about that because he was wanting to do a talk that most of you have seen. And I've seen it a couple times. It's good talk. But at our conference, we need fresh stuff. So um, we're trying to put on a conference that when people come in, they get information that's fresh and helpful. And it's very difficult to do that. Takes a lot of work to make these presentations too. I'll probably be up till 1 a.m. the morning before just working on my presentation. Let's see. Natalie, are you on tonight? Are you busy? Are you going to do your best Ferris Bueller's impression at the conference? No, I, I've gotten that a lot. I don't know why. I mean, Matthew Broderick, he's okay looking, but he's kind of like a shrimp. he's skinny. I've got muscle. Matthew really didn't have that. I've got Laurel too. Matthew didn't have that either. Um, but no Ferris Bueller's uh, impersonations. Now I might drop a couple Canadian impersonations, or I I can't do it. Not when I'm laughing. You could talk like soft like Bob. I can't do Bob. Bob's like the total opposite of me. I mean, Bob's just so chill and laid back, and Bob could use a pot of coffee, and he still wouldn't be close to the way that I am. But I could probably take, you know, I don't know, Valium, and I'd still never be as chill as Bob. Bob's a chill guy. Very cool. Let's see. Oh, so you've Yvonne, I can't remember what light number the conference is at. I'll try to find that out. Hey, Laurel, is there a way to look that up? Have experience here. Some presidents. Yeah, well, and I appreciate that, Merle. Well, and sometimes the presentations bomb too, and you're like, oh man, I don't want anybody to see that. Um, so and I respect it. There are some of the guys that don't want me sharing, and they've specifically asked me not to share their content, and I respect that. Oh, I did do the Ferris's teacher on the YouTube channel. I forgot about that. That's been a minute. Hmm. -14 Fahrenheit in western Wisconsin now. Ooh, keep it up there. Keep it up there. Now it's going to come down and it's going to get a little bit cooler. It's actually going to start acting like winter for a change. It's been very mild. Christmas Day, I was throwing football with the family without a t-shirt. And today worked without a t-shirt, cleaning up Big Red. We're getting everything ready, packing things up, getting Red all nice and cleaned out. I'll be actually leaving Big Red in the conference building, so people can look at her and all that kind of stuff. She likes to show off every now and then. Experience with off tasting honey. Had a really dry season in Wisconsin this year, and our crop just had a different taste to it. Very buttery. No, I don't. Of course, there's so many floral situations from location to location. I've never had any of our honey that was in the spring that was bitter. Now, fall honey, goldenrod, and aster, some of that can be pretty bitter. All right. So, Yvonne, if you're still on here, the light number is 17.4, and it's Gist Creek Road, or Gist Creek Road, Gists Creek Road. 17.4 is the light number, and you take a right there, entering that below. Sevierville Convention Center. Yeah, plenty of parking, all that kind of stuff. So I want to say this one more time, just real quick. For those of you coming to the conference, please, please, please get your when you ordered, you should have got an email with this on it. You can pull it up on your phone, we'll scan it, or you can have a paper copy and we can scan it. We'll be able to get you in and out fast, fast. Probably 30 to 45 seconds at the most. You'll get your goodie bag, get your lanyard and your badge, and it'll just make the process so much faster. If you can't find it, email hivelifeconference@gmail.com, but you should be able to look up in your emails and find it. There's no way you could have signed up without getting that email. So please look for it first, because as we're running out of time, and we can sign you up if you get there and you lose it. However, it'll take you a lot longer to get through the lines than everybody else that has their ticket. And there will be no people. We're not selling tickets at the door. So if you come to the door and you don't have a ticket and you're like, I just wanted to show up and buy one, we're not doing that. We're not set up for that. I'm not doing that. Bohemia Bees. Hey, I didn't know you were coming to the conference. Maybe you told me that. Maybe I knew. I can't I can't remember everybody, and I apologize. But looking forward to meeting you. How many hours are you and Laurel putting into the conference on a daily basis? I'd say 8 hours minimum on the low side. There's been days where we have been printing itineraries and different things up to 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'll be back woke up because just the pressure and the nerves gets me up around 6:30, and boom, right at it again. um, yeah, you typically over 10 hours a day, and that's 6 days a week, and I'll usually work part of the day on Sunday. I've had 2 days off since early September, Thanksgiving and Christmas, which is fine. That's my choice. Well, I can hold it up. You can shoot this, but it won't work for you. Laurel made sure of that. Hey, Yappy B Man, glad that you're going to be there too. Lots of big YouTubers coming to the conference. Yappy B Man, Randy McCaffrey, Jeff Horshoff, also known as Mr. Ed, Frederick Dunn, Bob Benny, Ian, myself, Bruce's Bees, Bohemia Bees. Gosh darn it, there's so many of them. Um, Man, I apologize. I'm hitting the blank here. I know there's like another half dozen YouTubers coming, at least. Um, but yeah, so I mean, and the thing of it is, even if you're not able to make it this year, we understand it's a crazy year, and there's even outside of all the craziness in the world, sometimes just things happen. You can't make it work. You can plan on next year's conference being at the same time. There's a good chance it's when we've already booked it. It'll be the same location, and that'll be a lot nicer. So we won't have to relearn a lot of stuff. And we maybe in the future we'll look at a different venue, but right now we're just trying to keep it simple as we're trying to learn how to conference at an extremely high level. And this year is going to be great. It's going to be the biggest in the country, biggest in on this continent for sure. Um, and but we want to do more. We want to get this to be a little bit more international as well, so we can be exposed to beekeeping in other parts of the world. I think that'll help us deal with varroa better, pests better, see different types of equipment and products that will make our lives better as beekeepers. So even though you can't make it this year, 2023 is going to be amazing. I'm going to have double the speakers. We're going to know what to expect this year. We didn't have we didn't know if we were going to have 5 vendors. We didn't know if we were going to have 200, 300, 400 people. We didn't know. So we have a really good idea of what we can shoot for next year. This year is going to be a monstrous sell pitch to all the manufacturers in the world that, whoa, if we go to the Hive Life conference, we can sell product and get a lot of great advertising. And they will, and they already are. That's why companies are already reporting tens of thousands of dollars in pre orders, and that's important. The companies need to win, because if they win, they can next year give us good deals and maybe more and better deals. That means they'll come back. That means they'll invest. They'll donate to the silent auction, which is going towards getting sponsorships for kids in 2023. We're shooting for 50 sponsored kids. That's not just the tickets, that's the hotels too, and covering a guardian. So that's a lot of money. And but we really got to shoot for those young people, the ones that are active. We're not talking new beekeepers. We're talking young people that are very invested into beekeeping already. We want to reward that effort, and we want to help guide them with people like Bob and Ian and Randy and Jeff and Frederick Dunn and so many of you that are coming to the conference. We want to expose them because we got to help those young people so that they really invest even more and get off the ground faster than we did, so they can create gadgets and better methods so that it helps us out, right? We got to use those young people for something. They got to be useful in some way. And but seriously though, that's what we've got to do. We've got to focus on that. So there's a lot of growth potential. And these companies, they've got to win so that you all can win. and so that we can win. And if everybody wins, then we're just going to keep doing more of it, and it's going to just keep growing. Next year, one of our keynote speakers is going to be Chris Warner, one of Bob Benny's friends that keeps the queen rain operation down there in Florida and drives the bees up to Wisconsin for honey flows and splits and things. So it'll be really neat to see his operation. We'll also have stuff that's a little bit more catered towards smaller beekeepers. We have a lot of advanced information right now. That's what we're focused on because that's harder to get a hold of. But we're definitely going to also have some side stuff that's more for serious hobby beekeepers and small sideliners. And we're definitely going to focus a lot more on things outside of professional beekeeping. And we're definitely going to have professional and commercial level beekeeping always, but we want to have a good variety. So we're definitely open to suggestions. Yes, Randy, the dirt rooster, is going to have a nice big booth. I think it's a 10 by 20, and he's got all kinds of cool stuff. And, he'll be there. He's all right. Elizabeth, his wife, she's the nice one. She's the one you really want to meet. I've missed a lot of comments. Yeah, I talked to Dr. Jamie Ellis about coming this year. He had already committed to the American Beekeeping Federation. I get that, but we're hoping that we'll be able to get him at the next one. Talk on oxalic acid and the future of it. Jennifer, I'm not sure about the double nuke queen castles. I imagine there will be. I don't have any way of knowing for sure without calling them on the phone. But there's a good chance that there will be. With all the vendors we have, I would think something that's fairly standard like that would probably have at least 2 sets of the conference, maybe 3 sets. And the vendors, of course, they love pre-orders, but what sells at the conference will let them know in the future what to bring, what sold for me this time. So, and also, being verbal. Thank you all so much because so many of you who are coming to the conference have said, "Hey, I'm going to the Hive Life conference. Are you going to be there? I want to buy your stuff." That is the best advertising for us because when I call them and say, "Hey, I'm Kamon Reynolds with the Hive Life conference. Would you like to come?" And they're like, "What? Who? Where?" But when you say it and say you're wanting to buy a product, all of a sudden that puts you're speaking their language. Makes it a lot easier for us to get cool vendors. The California Beekeeper, what's the maximum capacity this venue can host? So, with the room that we have, which is 2.5 acres, if we did theater style seating, it's over 3,000. 4,000 maybe theater style seating. So we're not even going to have 25% of that. Now our seating's not theater style. We're doing round tables. I like it so much more because it's spaced out. But we're really not doing that just because of the coronavirus. We're doing that because I like it. I like having a table in front of me. I like being able to put my stuff down, my coffee down, whatever it is, and it just makes it a lot more convenient and nice. So we'll have round table seating for everybody. Next year, when we purchase the 2 other rooms, it will be massive. It'll be at least another 2.5 acres, broke up into 2 other rooms. So it'll be about 5 acres of bee stuff next year. What state has the most participants? Well, Tennessee definitely does. It's not like way outweighing everybody else, but it's definitely the favorite, and for good reason. I mean, goodness, I mean, it's here in Tennessee, so that makes it easy, right? But we're definitely getting a lot of traffic from the Carolinas, Virginia, um, West Virginia, Kentucky, all of our sister states, Alabama, Georgia. It's a close drive, and it makes it a lot easier. I wish that we could be closer for everybody, but logistically, you just can't. I mean, you just can't be everywhere at once, right? And Ohio is very well represented, which is a bit surprising. Must be a lot of beekeepers there, but we have people from coming all over the place. I mean, just basically every state. We might be missing one or two. I know we're missing Hawaii. I know we have Delaware, Maine, Oregon, California, Washington. We got multiple Canadians. Canadians driving down, Canadians flying down. We got all kinds of people. We've had people from outside wanting to get in from other countries, but some countries like Australia, they don't want you to leave your house. So Tennessee's not like that. Maryland, there you go. Laurel, can you put that down below for the search for the tickets so people can put that in their search? All right, Laurel's posting that below. Brian, good question. Thanks for asking. If anyone, Laurel just posted it down below. If you are having issues finding your tickets, you should be able to put that link that Laurel left down below, the Hive Life 2022 at buytickets.at. If you put that in your search engine on the email that you use, it should bring up that email and you can find those tickets. Yeah, Indiana has a lot of people come in. We got a couple people from Missouri coming. I mean, it's all over the place. Um, it's great, and it's just going to get bigger. Yeah, pretty much ETs, bees. That's what they did. Any West Coast people coming to the conference, I heard if you're from California, you need to leave the California out of Tennessee. You are exactly right, Jose. California's got a lot of people. I know that there's a lot of people in California that aren't quite so nutty. Because I can promise you, everything in the state of Tennessee will give you cancer if it'll, if you believe in all the California laws, definitely for sure. But yeah, there's a lot of good people in California. I know several of them. There's several people coming from California. Several people flying in from California. I can think of at least five or six, um, just right off the top of my head. So there's got to be more than that. Washington, just everywhere. Yeah, I think most every vendor will accept credit cards and those kind of things. Just like if you were going to a store or something like that. Y'all leave Cayman alone. I can take it. I can take it. I mean, when you do these kind of things, if you're not making enemies, you're not or taking people off, you're not doing anything because even if you're being nice and trying to be nice, even Bob gets people that hates Bob. So I can get it when people get ticked off at me, I get it. I'm the type of guy that says what I think, and I rub some people raw, but guys like Bob, who just tries to be nice to everybody. I just don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I hope Bob sees that. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. So there's people that get and jump on Bob with both feet and just dog him. And it's terrible. So if you get out on YouTube or do anything like this, you're gonna expose yourself to those people. I don't it ain't gonna bother me. Um, Houston Shelton, what's the cost of the conference? So the conference this year is $180. And some people are like, man, $180. That does include two catered meals, which are very nice. And let me tell you, they're very expensive. Just wrote a check for like 60 something $1,000 for food. Ouch. Yeah, they hit us with some late fees I'm not very happy about. There's a couple little tiny words at the bottom of that, man, they're gratuity. Anyways, so it comes with that. Also, the vendor deals. If you're within driving distance and you can haul stuff back, there are people saving hundreds of dollars. So some people have even reported that they're paying for their whole trip just in savings. Obviously, you got to have to buy a decent bit of stuff, but if you're already buying for that, and I hope that's the way it's going to be for some people that they're like, this conference is going to be happening every year. Those deals, because we're focused on not overcharging the vendors like some conferences do. So we're working on getting you guys some of the best deals, and we do have the best deals in one place in the country without question. So we're hoping that we can at least save you some of that cost in the deals, and people can just plan year after year. This is where I'm going to go and get my stuff because it's really good for everybody. The vendors aren't slammed like they will be in May and April and March. And so they're happy to sell product that time of the year. And also you can get it early before the rush. So, I think, and with the speakers and everything else, all the stuff on the side, um, it's worth well over $180. It really is. So, We want to make sure there's for every penny and ounce of effort and time you guys put into this, we want to make sure you walk away with a lot of value. Well, thanks, Greg. You know, a hat's only as good as the person that's wearing it. That's what I've always been told. ET's bees will next year be at the same price. I don't know. A lot depends on how inflation's going to look because it's been ugly and food prices have been going up. That's my main concern. We've already got the facility locked in at the same price, so that's nice. But as far as the food goes, that's the big thing. Food's expensive. We're looking into having the option of people not getting catering next year. This year, we just had to do it for simplicity's sake. So next year, we might have two prices, and you might actually be able to get a ticket for a little bit less than you did this year without catering. You'll have to go out and get your own food, though. What presentation topic is your favorite to give? I don't know. I always wind up with mites, pests, and problems, and that's because I really don't assert myself. Um, I do that purposefully, really. Whenever I go, like I'm going to be speaking a few times in the next upcoming months to some places, and also in West Virginia. And I spoke in Iowa. I always end up with mites and the pests. But you know why? Because nobody wants to talk about that. And it's also one of the bigger problems we have. So I love talking about honey polling, but I never get asked to do that because somebody else takes it. That's fine. But I wanted to address the topics, feeding, the issues. We've got to focus on the issues and we got to pound them home until we start making headway. Things have got to be made better. So I typically lean on the revelations type of issues in beekeeping that nobody wants to talk about because they need to be talked about. But when people ask me to speak at a place, if they want me to speak on any subject, I mean, I'm they're the boss. So whatever they ask me to do, but usually I tell them, whatever you want me to speak on, that's what I'll do. And everybody else says this is what I will do, and I get whatever's left. Well, I appreciate it, Dominican beekeeper. I tried my best. Sometimes I can do it better than that. I've been fortunate to get to speak with Bob in Iowa and have him at our conference last year, and he'll be there this year. So I've been able to hang around him quite a bit. He's so soft spoken. He's such a sweet guy. But anyone that got mad at Bob, oh my goodness, I'd just be terrible, terrible person. Hey, Anura, glad that you're coming to our conference as one of our vendors with Pierce Beekeeping Equipment. Check this out over here. So I was just working on filming a video with this USA made uncapping tank of yours. And then the hot knife is I believe, yeah, it's up in there. And so we were uncapping stuff and everything went pretty good. So now I just got to find time to edit that and get that video up. Actually, I shot 3 videos, I think. So, yeah, Pierce Beekeeping has been making things in the U.S. since 1947. So I was really excited when they agreed to come because we're very pro-American, and you can definitely tell by the even the plastic. It's the good kind of plastic that's going to last a long time. And man, I just got honey all over my fingers. Doggone it. Oh well, it's good for my skin, right? A global conference, one step at a time, Tomahawk Missile. But hey, you never know. I like to grow. I like to push things, and we're going to get um, a lot of help down in the future. We're just learning a lot of stuff. Yeah, I mean, yeah, bees are really important, and there needs to be a lot of innovation done. Definitely for sure. No bearded bee works. I won't be selling buckets of pollen sub this year. I just don't have the time. But Ultra Bee will be sold by Man Lake. So for those of you who use Facebook, I totally get why you wouldn't use that communist platform. So on that Facebook group, you can see all the deals, and we have tons of them. I'm sorry if you're not on Facebook. I've got a website going, hivelifeconference.com. We don't have the vendor deals on there yet. We do have a list of our vendors. Next year, all the vendor deals will be on our website, so everybody will be able to easily access it. But Ultra Bee is cheap. Now, it will be brought to the conference too. So if you're wanting it, there will be pallets down there. You can purchase it direct, but I don't know how much excess they will have. We also next year I will be getting other types of patties there as well in bulk, and a very good price. The best price on Ultra Bee you can get right now will be at our conference. I believe it's $30 off a bag, so that's pretty good savings. And they have patties as well. Yeah, adulterated honey is a big problem in hobby beekeeping and in commercial beekeeping. There's a lot of people in Tennessee who sell sourwood. I know some of the guys out towards the Smokies, and they have an endless supply of sourwood and specialty honey, and it tastes nothing like sourwood. It doesn't look like sourwood, and it's not sourwood. There are some people like Bob who do the right thing and actually produce real sourwood. And this year, Bob didn't produce a drop of it. That's the way reality is. But a lot of tourists they don't know that. They go to the mountains like, oh, it's sourwood honey, and they'll pay out the nose for it. And these guys are buying this Chinese and Vietnamese and all this stuff and labeling it sourwood, and they're getting it for like $2 a pound. Nah, not even that, probably. They're probably getting it for like a buck something a pound. Who knows? Very cheap. And, then charging like 12, $15 a pound. Some places $20 a pound. And it is damaging to the industry. And some people like to turn the other cheek and look the other way. I'm not that kind of guy. And that's why some people don't like me because I say what I think. And I have to be I have to be careful. I don't want to get too rantish and stuff like that. But I think part of the reason we're in the situation that we're at is too many people have been too nice. I could say the same thing about our government. There's a lot of people being too nice with how the government's handling. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or Democrat. I'm not happy with either. I'm not happy with any of them. They're not taking care of us and not doing what they're supposed to. So it's. I think the problem is those of us who are raised with good mamas or raised in church were taught, to turn the other cheek and be nice. The Bible actually doesn't talk about it like that. There's some times for aggression and righteous anger, and there's a good reason for righteous anger right now in the United States. California beekeepers just won a verdict in early December that it was no longer to use in California sulfa. What is that exactly, Hollyhock? So I do know that there has been some lawsuits against honey and imported honey, and so it's made it more expensive, and that's why the price of honey has gone up. There's an exciting wave of prosperity, I think, coming for beekeepers. Yeah, equipment's gone up, but for those who can produce honey and sell bees and equipment, I think there's fixing to be a nice boom because price of honey for commercial guys is going up, and you might not think that affects you, but it does affect you. It affects all of us. So I think with the education going up, the price of honey going up commercially, there's fixing to be a nice wave. So grab your surfboard. Why is sourwood honey so sought after? It's a nice honey as far as it sits on the shelf very well. Some people love the flavor of it. I've had real sourwood. I've had some of Bob's. Don Bearden actually sent that to me along with some of his. But if I'm being honest here, I like Don Bearden's spring honey better than I like the sourwood. I'm not a big monster fan of sourwood. Now, if I'm going to go for one of the ones that's kind of more famous, Tupelo. I like Tupelo. Orange Blossom's pretty good. Sourwood's not bad, but I'm just like, I'm not paying extra money for that. Not gonna do it. Chiave honey is really good. I would pay extra money for the Chiave with the vanilla bean. Oh my goodness. I mean, you could just eat this by the spoonful. It's the best combo in honey I've ever had. And I get this from my buddy David with Good Job Bees on the Big Island, and it is pure. Dave does all the right things. Well, Jerome Bee Farm, you got to make money. I'm bad about not pricing my honey high enough, probably, but it's something that inflation, it goes up, and I'm gonna raise my honey up a little bit this year. I'm probably gonna raise it to $8. And see, that's something that we can do as the conference grows and we have more momentum. We will be able to address these bigger issues. I'm not joking. I mean, I'm serious. We will be able to address things with the USDA and international policies. I'm not saying we'll be able to control it or anything like that, but we will be able to be a voice that is able to be heard. So that'll be interesting to see how all that plays out long term. 14 bucks to 35 bucks at Texas Bee Supply. Whew, that is a big jump right there. Hey, Sharon, I do appreciate you saying that. Keep in mind, everybody, that Kamon Reynolds isn't always right. And I don't always agree with everybody, and people don't always agree with me. Most of my buddies don't live the same way that I do, they don't worship the way that I do. That's fine, you know. But I can't be anybody other than myself, because to do that would be a disservice to you guys and to myself also. And that's why I'm excited to see guys like Bob, because some people look at Kamon's videos and like, you know what, that punk, I just don't like his personality. And go see Bob, go see Frederick Dunn, so it's a lot of fun. It's exciting. That's why I like to support a lot of these other YouTubers, because I know what it was like starting out, and I also know that Kamon Reynolds can't do it all. And so if we actually want to if it's all about money, then yeah, please only talk about the Kamon Reynolds show. Only tell people about Kamon Reynolds. Forget those other YouTubers. But if we're actually trying to change the industry, change beekeeping, to make positive change, then Kamon Reynolds can't do it all. I've learned that the hard way. And so we've got to have a team, big network. Got to be like a beehive. Let's get deep here. Could be like a beehive. We got to work together. The more of us that work together, the stronger we are. Government's scared too of that, because if the people actually start thinking like that in this country, they're in trouble. Can you go into detail about folks wanting to show off a prototype equipment for future interest? So we do have an inventor's corner. This year, it's just going to be a handful of tables, or an area where people can stand up their equipment and talk about it with people. You can have a magazine or a pamphlet or anything like that. Show it off. I've got some Canadian product coming down. I've got some cool product that people have never seen before. A lot of the stuff people have never heard about before. We want to inspire innovation, creativity. And hey, if you come to our conference and we got all the cool YouTubers, which we do, then do you think you're going to get some good advertising potential? Yeah. So you can't get better advertising potential. And that's part of the reason the vendors actually took a chance on us, is they're like, well, at least we can get good advertising, if nothing else, even if we bomb at this conference, which they're not going to. Um, but the advertising potential is good. And so we want people to come in and be creative and invent, and ultimately the people will decide. If your product stinks, people won't buy it. But if it's awesome, then yeah, you can really get a nice groundswell, grassroots movement for your product at our conference. And if you actually are selling stuff and bringing a lot of stuff, then yeah, we're going to charge you as a vendor. But if you just have one product or a little invention or a knickknack, even if you're not trying to sell it, just want to help people out. That's what the Inventor's Corner is for. So if you want to develop something and show it off, obviously make sure that you get it patented. You got to protect yourself, all that kind of stuff. That's not, we're not going to be filming videos and showing stuff off if people ask us not to do that. But that's basically what it's for, as a platform for people to get their product out there. Hey, Bohemia Bees, good question. Are we allowed to produce YouTube content, go live at the conference? You are. I asked that you don't do any like full lectures or anything like that because I've been asked by some of the speakers that that would not be made available through YouTube. However, if you wanted to have like a short clip of a presentation, maybe 5 minutes or something like that, I'm okay with that. Little snippets, but not a whole conference lecture. But hey, if you want to go through the vendors and you want to show that off, or you want to you know do something with one of your bee buddies there, and Greg Burns is doing a podcast live at the conference to interview people. So if you want to do that kind of stuff, knock yourself out. I hope you do. It's but Out of respect to some of the speakers, we're not putting their content on YouTube either. Um, Hey, yeah, I'm gonna be bringing some honey, Mark. So yeah, buddy. I mean, real maple syrup, real honey. Oh yeah, baby. I'll do that. I've got everything. We're gonna be doing everything in pounds. So just if you can get something like in a pound, 2 pound, 5 pound, 10 pound. Hey, I mean, if it's real maple syrup, you bring a 50-pound container. I will. Uh, I'll trade you 50 pounds of honey, or we'll figure out a price. I love real maple syrup. It is the best. Snow is coming my way. No, 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 no. Keep it over there. Game, are you planning on unionizing? No, I'm not unionizing anything. Um, we don't work like the union. We're definitely not going to go union. A union break does sound nice. I wish I had some of those. Laurel, am I going to get any union breaks in the future? Nope. She's actually, when are you going to give me a union break? Well, actually, she's probably like, when are you going to start paying me? uh, Yeah, Laurel is the queen. Kamon is the drone. Yep, that is for sure. Wow, date and package bees are $200 this year. Wow. That is a lot for a package of bees. I remember buying a package for $67, I think was the lowest I ever got one for. 3 pounds. Wow, another $200. Sorry, I'm just getting through some of these comments, just scrolling back up because I can't keep up with all of them. Any expansion projects for 2022 for the yard? So I've been putting off the experimental yard information for a while, just really due to necessity. We have just been swamped in it, just overworked. And I apologize. I apologize. We will have it's actually on the itinerary for the conference. I still have yet to sit down and get all that collected so I can present it in a way that actually will make sense. The expansion project for 2022, and I'm actually not planning on growing my bees. I'm reducing my hives probably down to 200 because we just can't manage, up to 400, 500 colonies during peak season with selling nukes and everything, or more than that with mating nukes. And, you know, build a conference, do an experimental yard, run a YouTube channel, do the things that we want to do. Big changes coming. We'll be shrinking the operation down to probably 200 colonies or thereabouts. And the experimental yard is going to get a lot more focus. I was really disappointed in myself and not getting more videos of that up this year. And that was not what I intended. But we're just going to stay at it and we will get better. And we learned a lot this year. I feel like we got good results and the data is good, but I just wanted to have videos. I wanted to have a lot of videos, but both of my kids are being homeschooled now. They're both in school, so that was this is the first year having both of them in school, and just there's just a lot of things. The conference really, this thing's massive, And we're working so hard because we're trying to learn at the rapid rate that we're growing. It'd been easy if we'd have just gone to 300 or 400 people, and just had 10 vendors. But yeah, sorry about the screen going back and forth. This table is a little uneven. Yes, we are doing a test yard next year. Totally. We're going to focus on that more. Yeah, the vendor list is on the Hive Life Facebook page and also should be on the hivelifeconference.com. And you can go there and should be a list of vendors. You won't be able to see the deals. The deals are on the Facebook page, Hive Life Conference, and you just have to scroll down because there's a lot of deals and there's a lot of questions and different things going on. Pirate Queen Bee apparel. So vendors, we'd ask that they stay till most of the end of Saturday if possible. Obviously, if they could stay till about 3 p.m. at least, that would be nice. 2 or 3 p.m. I know people have to pack up and head on out. So you can talk about me about the conference on that on Thursday when we set up. But the conference does end on Saturday at 6 p.m. So it'll probably run over a little bit, 6:30 or so. Nothing that I know of on Thursday night. I'll probably be busting my butt on Thursday, just getting everything together. What do you have to say about Canadian beekeeping? Well, I mean, it's cold. I mean, it's. Are we talking about like Ian? Or are we talking about like there's another guy up there, the small Canadian beekeeper? Both of those guys, I like them. I like Ian. Both of those guys are great. Um, but definitely can't keep bees Tennessee like you can up in Manitoba. Ah, yeah. Good. If you haven't watched the video series of the University of Guelph, Paul Kelly has some great videos for Canadian beekeepers. You can watch and learn from our videos too, but for stuff that's more specific for your area, yeah, check those videos out. So that's another thing. I've been trying to reach Paul Kelly. If anyone has a in with Paul Kelly, I'm trying to get him down to our conference in 2023. And I've emailed and I've called and I haven't got anything back. But I really want to have Paul Kelly. He seems like a really good um, guy all the way around. What I love about Paul is he sounds like a really good speaker. It's hard to find people that know stuff that actually can present well. So that's a plus. Also, he obviously knows a lot about bees, and he's really involved in research up there. So most researchers aren't necessarily great beekeepers, and vice versa. But he seems to be a really, really good at all of it. So if anyone knows Paul Kelly, uh, yeah, tell him that Kamon Reynolds wants to talk to him. I mean, we pay. I mean, we're not cheap or anything like that either. And we'll fly him down here. We'll treat him like we would a Tennessean, real well. After the conference Friday, what are some good spots to hit Friday night? So one of the things that's just right down the road, there's Knife Works. It's like the biggest knife shop in the country. It's massive. And they've got all kinds of other cool stuff besides knives. Now, as far as food goes, there's a diner. It's a 50s style diner. Um, Man, I just dropped the name right out of my mind. But it's a nice little diner. And I went there. I have it on my Facebook page. Um, they've got some bison burgers, elk burgers, um, good shakes, all that stuff. And they've been a local business for a while. It's not very big though. I think they can only probably hold around 60 or so people in there. Um, I'm really not super familiar with a lot of the other restaurants. I'm really not. And conference you were learning to crawl. This year you skipped walking and learning to run and went to a full out sprint. Well, you know, we take it seriously. And I want to be taken seriously. If I was going to go to a conference, and I mean, I'm like the average beekeeper on here. I want to be as good as I can and go as far as I can. We saw an opportunity, and it wasn't just us though. We've had so many people like you tell vendors about us. And there's been so many people behind the scenes impact this conference in ways that have made it so much better this year. So many people. But we've worked feverishly to create this conference and make it as big as possible, because when you're coming to our conference, we want to give you nothing short of the greatest experience you've ever had. So, in order to do that, we had to go all out and pull out all the stops, and we did. And that's why some of the experimental yard stuff kind of got put to the side and hasn't got done. That's why we haven't done a lot of good YouTube videos. I apologize. In the last several months, we've that will be changing starting in January. We'll get back to that, and we'll grind out the best year of videos we ever have. However, yeah, it's been a lot of work. It's been a ton of work, and we are going to. But we also look at it as there's a lot of European companies, a lot of big companies that are watching it. So we thought, well, the bigger and the better we can make it this year, the more of an opportunity we have to make 2023 just the best conference, you know. But then I've come to realize, though, it's always the next year. It's always the next year. But that's just the way that I am, and I think that's part of the reason why we're having this conversation is because you can always grow and you can always get better. Raymond Reynolds. I've never heard of this Raymond Reynolds guy. Is he good looking? I mean, if you got a name like Reynolds, he ought to be pretty good. You didn't have to retract it. I think I knew who you were talking about. Um, can we talk about preparing for the flow? Well, the best thing to do is to have your bees really strong, but not too strong. Um, gotta pull the bees back. Ian's got several good videos on that. It's actually one of the conference talks he's going to do. Is kind of get more specific about pulling bees back and making splits with them and focus on single brood management. It's kind of tricky. Big, strong hives with a good flow want to swarm. They do, and it's even trickier if you don't have a lot of honeycombs to put on them. So I'm actually I think that you would probably benefit from watching Paul Kelly or watching Ian, because it'll be so much more situated towards what you need. But basically, we're going to feed pollen patties here when the maple bloom starts and produces pollen in February. We're going to beef those colonies up. Any of them that are too big in March, we are going to pull frames of brood from and give it to smaller colonies or make splits with them, because colonies that just get too big too early, they swarm. And we would rather get less of a honey crop from those big guys and keep them from swarming than to chase swarms around. We still lose swarms though. And usually the better your flow is, the more swarms you have. So it's just part of beekeeping, but we try to avoid it. Just make sure there's plenty of nutrition in there. Get some syrup. If the colonies are light, feed them a little bit. Stimulate them with syrup and pollen patties, but just don't plug them up. A voice. I've got to cut this out pretty soon. Is Ian bringing Carrie? No, Ian's not bringing Carrie. So I noticed you turned that off. It wasn't? Oh, to where people could subscribe and then. Oh. Well, we had something new set this time that you had to be subscribed in order to comment. We try to do that this time just so that people who subscribe and are our regulars can get their questions in a little bit easier, and also primarily to cut back on all the spam bots. Just bots that come in here and spam. But it seems like if anyone was having an issue with that, because some people were saying that they would subscribe and they still couldn't comment. So this is, I think, a new feature. It's a new feature with YouTube, and they're probably working out the kinks. I'll send a report in. But again, the conference will be professionally filmed, and that will be available after the conference for anybody that needs to get that or see that. It'll be much cheaper than going to the conference for sure. Sue Kobe and Michael Palmer. I've talked to Michael Palmer quite a bit about coming out. He's really concerned with the state of the way things are right now. I think if the government has their way, we'll be locked up for 10 more years because they absolutely love the control factor, and the news absolutely loves all the wonderful ratings they're getting. So they're not in a hurry to make this go away. That's all I'm going to say. Follow the money. We don't have a price for the video yet, Yvonne, because this is our first time doing it, and I don't know what all expenses I'm going to have on the back end. I know what I'm going to have on the front end of paying the guy, but I don't know how much we got to get it edited and get it into a sellable form. And I don't have a quote for that yet. Um, so we're going to have to see kind of how much that costs before I set a price. But it'll be much, much less than the conference, and especially for people that came to the conference, we're gonna cut a really nice break for the people that came. Cayman, do you keep a stack of double screen boards on hand? Oh yeah. I've got 100 and something double screen boards, and they're really useful. Shoot, I've got some hives that are still on double screens that I just made a split, made a single, and didn't have a bottom board available. Just use a double screen board. They'll overwinter on one of those double screens. And if I want to, and this is what I've done with a lot of them, is I come back around, January, December, find another big colony, and boom, throw them right on top, sharing that thermal mass and heat. And oh, they're really nice. Bob is going to have a legendary presentation at our conference on double screen boards. He's done YouTube videos on it, a little bit of a different approach and more dialed in. Double screen boards are fixing to be more commonly used. They should already be used more, but they're a nice, very versatile piece of equipment. I hate, and most professional beekeepers hate, Bob has said this as well, excess equipment, just equipment that doesn't have a lot of use. But if there was one piece of equipment that was kind of an extra woodenware piece of equipment, I hate inner covers. I don't like having any extra piece to yank off of a colony that I have to. But the double screen board would be the first one that I would go to as far as having an extra piece of equipment because they're just so handy and you can build them pretty easily. There's going to be some at the conference. Byron Ferris, my buddy, is building cypress ones right now. I think he's going to have 100 or 150 of them. Byron Ferris, so you can find him on Facebook and maybe get some pre-ordered before they all disappear after Bob's talk. In Texas, you can sell 2,500 pounds of honey without reporting the income to the government. Whoa. Wow. I like that. I don't think we'll probably have that in effect, Bohemia, bees, to reserve it at the conference. I just don't. We're just not going to be set up for that. But we will have it on our website, hivelifeconference.com. I'll be announcing on YouTube, I'm sure, and on Facebook. So anyone that pays somewhat close attention should be able to find that with relative ease. I've got a contract with the company that they have to have it edited and ready by the end of January. But then what I have to figure out on my end might take me a couple more weeks, but I imagine that we should have it available in February. We should. Link Kilby. I do wax dipped boxes. I do. We're actually bringing 600 wax dipped boxes to the conference to sell. And in the future we'll have even more than that. There, most of them are pre-sold though. Yeah, I told Laurel we keep this about an hour. I'm 2 hours in. I just wanted to talk about the conference a little bit more. I actually need to rest my voice a little bit. I probably need to let you guys go. Thank you all for coming on. Appreciate you so much. We will have another live chat after the conference. I will see you guys there. Laurel and I are going to be slammed between now and the conference. So if you can't get a hold of me, that's why. Unless it's situation critical. I won't be responding back. Just that simple. So appreciate you all so much. Um, Thank you for supporting this conference and supporting this live chat. Just because you're not coming to the conference doesn't mean that we don't appreciate you. We totally do. You're part of the reason, even if you didn't come, that we're doing the conference. All the momentum we've gained with this YouTube channel created this conference. And I apologize that it's taken away from our YouTube channel. It was unavoidable. I don't have the money or the expertise to know how to manage a lot of this stuff to its fullest level. So I'm really being pulled away at multiple directions. I'm trying to do my best, and we will continue to reinvent and get better to better serve beekeepers and you all who have made all this possible. So thank you all so much. We will see you all soon. God bless and happy beekeeping in 2022.